I'm not sure why the 76ers and Joel Embiid said, hey, he's not going to play back-to-back games. The NBA is looking into that. You want to have availability. Like, you can't lose the trust of your audience where they go, who's playing? Wait, are they going to be playing? We brought this up 6 years ago, and I think some places have used this, and that is star player insurance. Like, there should be insurance with your tickets if you're going to buy, let's say you're buying Knicks tickets and LeBron's coming to town and that's a Christmas gift. Then all of a sudden LeBron's not going to play. Then there should be there should be an opportunity for you to get your money back or get a credit for another game. You can go to that game and we'll give you credit for another game. Whatever it is, just because, the audience, the fans want to know who's playing. Kawhi's not going to play for who knows how many games. So you know that. Here's Joel Embiid. He didn't play in the opener, so it's not even a back-to-back. I mean, did they have a preseason game that he played in and then you're not available for the opener? Are you going to be available for the next game because you didn't play in the last game? And here is one of the top 5, top 7 players in the game. And yes, I did propose this. I know that there were players who were not happy with me when I proposed it to the commissioner on the show. I said, you have to have, first thing I said is, no more positions for all NBA. That's not fair. And I called it the Rudy Gobert rule because Rudy Gobert is not one of the top 15 players in the game. He shouldn't be first team all NBA because you got to have a center. I said to the commissioner, that's silly. And the commissioner did change that. Now, maybe I had a role in it, maybe I didn't. I did tell him you have to have a certain number of games that you must play to qualify for these awards. 65 games. That means you're going to miss 17 games. All right. It's not an unheard of total. But I want the best players to be on display. I mean, the NFL has 17 games. Unless they're injured, you're seeing your star players. Baseball, it's 162. It used to be a big deal when somebody would say, we're going to give him a day off. Like, they'd even announce it. We're going to give Johnny Bench has caught 7 games in a row. We're going to give him a day off. But he's going to play first base. In the NBA, are you surprised? I'm never surprised when somebody says, a healthy scratch. We're going to give him a day off. But it's still, you want to have availability. You want to have, the audience has to have trust in your product. And this is a real issue for Adam Silver. But there's so much money at stake for the All-NBA that, you got to tough it out. There are times when you maybe don't want to play. You're banged up a little bit. Okay. Back in the day, you played. Now it's like, I don't have to. What's the owner going to do? Does Philadelphia pay Joel Embiid half his salary? Is he taking a salary cut because of this? And I know he's had all of these injuries. Okay. Now you're going to play half the games. Yes, Mark.
And I think for other teams, like, say, if you're Detroit or Atlanta, that might not sell out a lot. If the Lakers are coming to town, you're like, hey, at least we know we'll get one sellout this year. And then you hear LeBron's not playing, like,
yeah,
God, we were depending on that. That's like when Michael Jordan would go to Vancouver one time a year. He knew how important he was. He knew that place was going to sell out because he was there. And so if I'm one of those players, you got to kind of think about the away audience too, because it's one time a year where they go across country to see you.
And I always gave credit to Jordan because Jordan understood that they're coming to see him. And he even talked about how he'd get dressed up. When he would walk into the lobby in a hotel, he always wanted to look great because he said that might be the only time you get to see him. He understood it. Now, not everybody does. Nobody else is wired the way Mike was. But he did understand playing and wanting to play. I could never be a healthy scratch. There's no way I could just sit there and watch a game. That'd be death. But having these players, and I know, okay, modern travel, like the finest facilities, trainers, all of this stuff. And they play less than the guys who had to fly commercial. The guys who didn't have these luxuries. Now, they might say we didn't really have an option. Okay. They've taken advantage of a loophole here. And it's unfortunate because the regular season does not matter. There'll be games, matchups that you go, oh, I want to watch that one. But it's not must-see TV because you don't know if somebody's going to play or not. Yes, Eden.
Yeah, it feels like it goes against the competitive spirit that you have to have as an elite athlete, is to be able to sit and say, I'm just going to take tonight off. Even though I know it's a business, I know there's, like you said, all the travel and everything, but it feels like you can't get to that same height without having this crazy competitive side to you. And then all of a sudden that just evaporates for a day because you're like, I'm just not going to do it today.
But the NBA has made the season longer so you have more rest days in between games.
Right.
They haven't added to their schedule. It's still 82 games. I mean, the NFL is going to add yet another game to the most violent sport. Baseball's still been 162. There was talk of maybe 154, bringing it back to what it used to be. But I just, having that insurance, ticket insurance, I think, is important. And, hopefully the league embraces that, where you at least allow the fan to have some kind of insurance if a star player. But I don't know where the cutoff is on who was a star player and who's not. Because if Chris Middleton doesn't play for the Bucks, I'm sorry, you don't get your money back. Yeah, Paulie.
There are a couple different ticket portals that do this. Probably the best one that I've seen is called Fansure. And you pick a game you're going to, and you're buying the tickets through them. And you could protect your ticket up to 100% of the value. So let's say you've got a 76ers ticket, and you walk in that day, and you've insured it for just a couple bucks extra. It's like a service fee for 100%. You could still attend the game, but if you walk in and it's announced Joel Embiid is a scratch, you get 100% of your ticket price back, not the fee, and then you get to still watch the game. They also have a list of players you could buy protection for, and it's probably, I would say, the 35, 40 best players in the game.
Okay, that many.
Yeah, it's. I'm looking at probably about 35.
Yes, Eaton.
I know I'm going to sound super naive with all this, or maybe just like an idiot, but part of the problem with everything that we're talking about with load management and all this stuff is that going to games is just too damn expensive. It's way too much money. And if I paid $50 for a ticket and LeBron didn't show up, you're like, oh man, that stinks, but I got to pay $250 for a ticket. Now it's like, it's my whole day. The parking is $75.
Yeah,
everything. It's way too expensive, and you're only drawing from the same group of people that can actually afford to go. Rather, you're pricing out most of the population on almost every major league sport.
I could buy an 80-inch flat screen for what it would cost for me to take 4 people to the game.
Easily.
Like park
Easily.
I could get an 80-inch flat screen instead of going to the game.
And those are bad seats.
Yes, Todd.
The TV would even less. These days, TVs are really cheap. It'd probably be a lot cheaper to get the TV than to do that.
Thank you, Todd.